Hello and welcome to day 29 of Adventures in Tarot Casting. This October series is almost at an end. I've been having such a good time and I hope you've been having fun as well. Today we are using the Soundtracks and Archives sticker. It is this one. I was very inspired to create this. I wanted it to feel very like 80s and early 90s. And I worked at a video store. I actually worked at a couple video stores growing up. And then, of course, we had cassette tapes and floppy disks. These were the upgraded floppy disks from the ones originally, but I felt like they aesthetically worked better with this layout. So this spread is a lot of fun. It's meant to be just a fun self-inquiry, a trip down memory lane, to examine and evaluate patterns that are probably on repeat or maybe ones that you like to watch over and over again. They may be tried and true comfort movies, music, applications that offer relief from the noise of life. And alternately, they can also be examined to break old habits, patterns that need to be rewritten. So let's just get to it, shall we? So there's a few placements on here. We have a large one here for the VHS, and then we have a pocket size, but I'm using 2 regular size decks because I thought the theme was really on par. And then we have tiny tile placements. As always, you can use whatever you like. You know, if by now, I hope that you just realize you can literally use whatever you like. So this is the 80s tarot. The box was plain. I drew it on there. And then this was actually a bigger deck, but I cropped it. And I didn't edge it, but I did crop it because I thought it was just, the borders were a bit much. So it's all 80s themed, and it's just going to be fun. It is a pip deck, but we're going to use this for the highlight reel, the home movies, what is worth visualizing and reliving, good or bad. These are the movies that contribute to our current situation. So we're going to use that for this placement. I just love this spread so much because it immediately visually I look at it and it just brings me back to my elementary school days, high school days, just school days. And it's just, I'm just right back there. And we have the Tower. And that's Egon from the Ghostbusters. So the Tower in this position is telling us, what is worth visualizing and reliving, good or bad. These are the movies that contribute to our current situation. That's what I said, right? So here's my thing about the Tower being on full display. Life is nothing but a series of changes, right? And the Tower is here to remind us that don't get too comfortable because things can always change overnight, whether we want it to or not. Funny thing, segue, back when I was doing some ancestry work for the first time, when I was working with my ancestors, the card that came through for me as to know that my ancestors are here to help me was the Tower. So when I see the Tower, it really tracks with my family line because nothing was ever stable, nothing was ever secure. Things could crumble at a moment's notice. So this tracks so hard for me. Not that I'm excited about that, but it just tracks. We'll just say that, right? I have never been afraid to burn everything down in order to start over, and I think that that's helped me keep kind of a healthy outlook, even though sometimes I do freak out and lose my mind over it. But hey, I'm human, right? Having a lived experience. So now it brings us to the cassette tape. And this, if you have a pocket card, you could use that, or, this is actually the size of that, but we're gonna let that live in the, what is worth visualizing and remembering is all the Tower moments, all the things that we've gone through, right? And so then we've got the soundtrack, and this is the rhythms that keep me in motion, or us in motion. Don't be afraid to explore the B-sides as well. It's often where the hidden treasures reside, right? And so we're using the Life is Like a Board Game, which is a Monopoly base deck. This is another deck by Krystal Banner. If you remember, I used their Love on the Record one on the Beyond Worlds, I believe it was. But this is also really fun. So this is the rhythms that keep us in motion. And this deck reminds me of all the times I played Monopoly with my brothers, and then my older brother would inevitably get really mad that he wasn't winning, and he would flip the board game over, because that's what adolescent boys do. Okay. Struggle Avenue, 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so this reading is reading me for filth again. Yes, this actually tracks as well. The 5 of Pentacles is a place, unfortunately, that I am not a stranger with. When we grew up, we were constantly on assistance. We were constantly in need of assistance, and that's okay. That was the life that we grew up. But because of that, I understand there is still like a money wound with me, something that I have been dealing with and I've gone to therapy for. So the Struggle Avenue is just saying, hey, this is a rhythm that keeps me in motion, and it does. Not wanting to be back in those poverty mindsets is what constantly keeps me in the hustle, and I know it's not always good for me, but it's because there's this, So the Tower and Struggle Avenue over here, the funnier thing too is I actually wrote an article for the Diviner Life's magazine a few years back, and it was around the 5 of Pentacles, and it was coming to peace with that and understanding that even if you're in struggle times, which many people are facing right now in the world, there's always helpers, and there was times in my life when we needed help, and then there's times where I've been the one to help. So the 5 of Pentacles is the B sides of that, is saying, yes, you were helped when you needed it, and you can also help when you have, help to give. So it's just a soundtrack that reminds me, like, I'm not there. Look how far we've come, but it might be my turn to help, right? So yeah, I love when this is what happens. Tarot's like, hey, it's a demo, but we're going to read you for filth. Have fun with that. So now we've got the archives, right? So we've got our little floppy disks here. Computers don't even have placements for these anymore. It's so funny. I just think of all that data and like, where does it go? Like, have people transferred it all into thumb drives and not even, just technology has been so high speed since I was in my learning years. I'm still in my learning years, but you know what I mean. So we have archives here, information that is written into our soul, our learned behaviors and beliefs. And I've got 1 and 2. So we've got the 4 of Pentacles and the 3 of Pentacles. Hard work and conservation, resources, savings, and hard work, and I look at the 3 of Pentacles, and that is from it was actually my card yesterday, but the 3 of Pentacles, I look at that and I think about how there's always a plan, there's always blueprints. It's also, my father was the 3 of Pentacles in my Pocket of Peers deck, and then in Out of Hand Tarot, it's my father and my brother. And so for me, what is ingrained in me in the learned behaviors is a legacy of working hard. Like, there's no doubt in my lineage from, me and that side of the family, and even my mother, is we're hard workers, right? And the 4 of Pentacles reminds us the reason we have to work hard is because we have to conserve our resources, our energy. There may be some in the savings, but it might not always be there, And so, even there is some frugality and miserly that comes in with that. And again, it comes from this 5 of Pentacles, and it's 5, 4, 3. Here we go, So we're getting back to the opportunities, right? So now I'm going to bring in the upgrade. So this one is going to help to enhance or rewrite the story. These are going to be Lenormand. and they give guidance to implement new patterns. So how can I get out of struggle avenue mindset? How can I get out of this core belief of always waiting for the other shoe to drop, always waiting for that tower moment, always waiting for the ghost of my past to show up, right? And the action is going to be and I have 2 in my hand. And we've got bouquet and birds. I feel like birds shows up a lot. And I see that as the anxiety and the chatter and the discussions are a gift. They are acknowledging, talking about it, talking through it. So right there, I literally see these as the upgrades are going to be therapy, perhaps, continuing to talk it out, continuing to revisit these past scenarios to understand the lesson that was learned from it, so that way it doesn't own me anymore, right? So yeah, it's talking through and understanding that my past was also a gift, but right now in the present, being able to talk through and to move through that through conversation is always a good thing. So that is how I use this particular spread. If you wanted to, you could always clarify and flip the B-sides. You could look at the bottom of the deck and see what that B-side would be. So like, let's just do that since I'm talking about it. So what would the bottom of the deck be? Struggle avenue and indecision way. And it's because it's hard to make a decision, right? So they kind of go together. But yeah, that's kind of how, oh wait, no, there was a couple cards in the box. We also have the Hierophant. So it's learn behaviors, but you see what I'm saying with that demo. So yeah, so do you have this spread? Have you tried it out? Have you seen how it works for you? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let's push this out of the way and see what we got for tomorrow, and then I guess ultimately we'll know what we have for Halloween as well. So tomorrow's card is stop. Tomorrow we have the Spark. So Halloween we are going to be dealing with the tidal wave. So I will see you here tomorrow with the Spark. As always, thank you for being part of my creative world. Be sure to like and subscribe and tell all your friends. And again, thank you for being here. Talk to you soon. Bye.